Just like that, here we are back again. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. As always, I'm your host, David Burrows. It sounded like I was getting ready to sing there for a moment. Would you like me to sing for you? Probably not today. How's everybody doing? Hope you had a fantastic weekend. And 'tis the season to be jolly. We got out Saturday for a very unique Christmas parade, right? We'll talk about that in just a minute. But in the meantime, say hello to us. I don't know why I've been having a hard time talking lately. The last few weeks on the show, it's like, spit it out, Burrows, get it out there. Say hello in the comments below. Does that rhyme? I didn't mean for it to rhyme. Yeah, because we're watched all around the world, right? So we appreciate you being here, and we want you to say hello with us. A couple of great guests here today we're going to get to in just a moment. But did you get out and see the parade over the weekend? Of course, with all the uniqueness that's I've kind of dropped the word unprecedented, and now I'm calling it unique because it's very unique what's going on right now in the world. But did you get out in Sarnia and see the Santa Claus Parade? The 39th annual Sarnia Kinsman Santa Claus Parade was put on and held at Lambton College, a drive-by parade. Because of everything that's happened with COVID-19, of course, they had to adapt things. 13 floats were down, set up at Lambton College. Along with food collection and teddy bear collection with Blackburn Radio was there helping out. And Lambton Ford normally would do their teddy bear toss at the Sarnia Sting game, right? Sadly, that's not happening. So they asked people to bring the teddy bears down to the parade, and they collected, they collected a bunch. I don't know how many that is. I know they always try to break numbers every year at the Sarnia Sting game, so I haven't heard yet how it went. So, but lots of people were there. We went down and live streamed the parade, so if you haven't been able to watch that, it is available on my Facebook page, The Show with David Burrows. It'll be available on YouTube shortly as well. It was different for sure. Hundreds, I don't know how many, but hundreds of cars went through to see, and you were able to come in through London Road and Wellington Road entrance. Now, it was, I would say, done pretty well. You could always look back at things and go, well, they should have done this, should have done that. There was definitely a lot of traffic out at London Road and on Wellington Road, but I didn't hear about any accidents or anything, so I think everything went pretty smooth. And it was nice to still be able to get out and enjoy the Santa Claus Parade, as different as it looked, right? And I know lots of people appreciate it. There were cars everywhere, and people got out and enjoyed it. So a lot of appreciation there. So if you weren't able to get out and you couldn't get there, again, the live stream replay is available on the Facebook page. So check that out. One of the things, and by the way, I want to say thanks to all of our supporters, our title sponsor, Dan Tidball from DT Freight Express, supported the stream as well as did many others. Long list. Don't have time to go through them all, but you know who you are. So thank you very much for supporting that. And I wasn't sure how it was going to be, you know, like it was a unique experience. For us, we were live streaming from the van, and nice and slow, and Jason had the camera going, and Jennifer was driving, and I did the talking and everything else, right? So it worked out pretty well. So thanks again to our supporters for that. And one of our friends, their Snapshots photo booth, came on board and helped us out because they're down at the Lambton Mall, at the Lambton Mall Uptown Market, it's called. If you haven't heard about it yet, there's 2 locations in the mall for the Uptown Market. Snapshots photo booth is located right by HomeSense there. And they've got this Santa's Magic Mirror. Now, photo booths, it's more than a photo booth. It is a very cool, unique, magical experience. It's a lot of fun, big kids and small kids. And they're in the Lambton Mall. You're going to want to check this out in place of Santa Claus, if you will. And they have 5 North Pole experiences that you can choose from. It's only $16.95 to have your North Pole experience. and additional ones available at $9.95. And I'm told that if you tell them, I didn't ask permission for this one. They said if you tell them you saw the live stream, they'll give you $2 off. Tell them you saw it on the show with David Burrows, and they'll give you $2 off too, I'm sure, for that experience, right? So there you just, we just gave you $2 to go have some fun with Santa's Magic Mirror, located in the Lambton Mall Uptown Market. And thank you, Snapshots Photo Booth, for your support during the broadcast as well, all right? Also, we had Mark Perrin. I was talking to him last week, and we did a special live on-location interview at Lambton Mall again. Win your holiday shopping spree. Who wouldn't like that? Like, they'll pay for your shopping spree, up to $200, I'm told. They're going to be drawing every day somebody's names. Now, here's what you do. Whenever you do any shopping in Lambton County, this is not just Sarnia, throughout Lambton County, keep your receipt, write your name and phone number in the back of the receipt. There's a location at Lambton Mall. There'll be one out in Forest and in Petrolia, where you put your ballot, your receipt with your name and phone number, and they're going to draw a winner every single day. And then they're going to have a big bonus prize at the end of it all as well. So take your receipts. If you want to keep your receipts for gift reasons or business reasons, you can photocopy your receipt and put your receipts in there so you still have a copy. And that is courtesy of Ontario's Blue Coast and Tourism Sarnia-Lambton. What a great idea to give back and supporting local as well. So remember, this is anywhere in Lambton County. Keep your receipts, put them in the box for your chance to win. And I just think it's a really cool idea. All right, well, we're going to get things moved along pretty quickly here today. So let's get right into it. My first guest who's going to join me here in just a moment is Don Flegel from the Sarnia-Lambton Children's Aid Society. All right, and now joining us from the Sarnia-Lambton Children's Aid Society, Executive Director Don Flegel. Don, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, David.
You're welcome. Well, I say this quite regularly, but very unique times happening right now. I've been avoiding that precedented word, but unique and unprecedented. How have you been adapting? How's the organization of Children's Aid Society been adapting in all of this?
I think probably as well as everybody else in terms of, figuring things out as we go along and as things change with the pandemic. I mean, we've always been open. We've always been providing service right from the beginning. And I would, have to give a huge shout out and call out to all of the staff and managers here who really rallied and got us working from home. Got like 90 phones out to families so that we could connect them virtually. Just figured out how to use technology like the rest of us were. It was, a bit of a scramble, I'd say, in the beginning, but we've settled in and have continued to see families in their home and in the office sometimes now too.
Right. I was going to say, like, you're really in. There's a lot of in-person physical. Typically with what you do. So has it been received well by those that are using the services? Everybody's been really understanding, right? And everyone's in different spots. And so we really try to figure out with the people that we serve, what best fits for them, what they're most comfortable with. So sometimes it's been outdoor visits, sometimes in the home. Different levels of, PPE, masks, gloves, whatever people are comfortable with, we've tried to accommodate. The public health unit's been really fantastic helping navigate through that as well. Right.
Yeah. And same with the kin families and foster families have really stepped up themselves and, figured out just different ways of getting through this like everyone else.
Yeah. There's a lot of mental health that goes in with what you're dealing with regularly as well. And you sort of touched on, Lambton Public Health. But what other collaborations have you been able to hold on to, I guess, through this pandemic?
That's really been, I think, a credit to all of the social service and health organizations. And so lots of different ways that we collaborated before the pandemic and have continued to during the pandemic. So a good example would be with, say, the Good Shepherd with Miles Vanny and his organization, where they were putting together food baskets, and we partnered with them around that and helped with the delivery of some of those to families and young people that we serve. We've always had a good relationship with St. Clair Child and Youth for mental health for kids, and also CMHA on the adult mental health side. So those have continued, and we regularly connect and meet to figure this all out together.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good to have those collaborations in the community, right? For sure. To have that support, not just for those that are using the services, but for you and your staff as well, to be able to have other resources, right? And I imagine, like you say, we keep saying it, but everybody's adapting and changing to that. What's it been like as far as on the staff side of things? I would imagine there's had to be a lot of new training, if you will.
For sure. New training, new technology to use, and new ways of engaging with families. Like, even when you think about our staff interviewing kids experience now of having somebody show up at their house in a mask was brand new at the beginning, right? And so how do you talk about that? How do you make it okay for kids and not scary for kids, especially in the beginning when they weren't used to it? So our staff are great. They, developed a tip sheet, and we shared that provincially. Here are some helpful things for engaging with kids and families when you're wearing a mask. We can be scary at the best of times when we're children showing up. We certainly don't mean to be, but of course, like, that can be quite frightening for families. So then imagine another layer of, now there's somebody in a mask from Children's Aid, at the door. So trying to work through all of that. I think our staff have done a good job, and the families have been super understanding. And it was a bit of a leveling because we were all in the same place, right?
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we're all in this together, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Same storm.
Yeah, right. So a lot of your services then you're delivering virtually, right?
Some of it, yep, and some of it's still in person.
Okay. So when it comes to the virtual side of things, let's talk about confidentiality, because I know that's something of great importance with your organization.
Yeah.
What kind of steps were taken when adapting to virtual to keep that confidentiality in place?
So quite a number of things. We made sure that our staff were reminded of those confidentiality responsibilities. And then when they were working within their own homes, what kinds of things could they do to make sure they were preserving people's privacy and confidentiality when working from home? Because that brings a whole kind of new set of considerations. And then also with the families. So giving them the option of what platform to use. So remember, in the beginning, there were all those concerns about Zoom.
Yeah.
People, so making sure families were aware of what some of the concerns in the different platforms were, and then letting them choose, what they were comfortable with, what made sense from a privacy perspective on the family side, and then our workers having to learn different platforms to use to accommodate that. Yeah.
And how did you learn these new platforms? Was it YouTube, or was it Google, or was there training that happened with that? Because there's a lot of different platforms out there besides Zoom, right?
Yeah. So some trial and error. We gave them a list of different platforms. A bit of training. There's lots online. Of course, you can Google anything really and come up with tutorials on how to use things. And then, of course, had a bit of training for them as well to be able to get used to them.
Right. Well, you sort of mentioned there, aside from wearing the mask, sometimes when Children's Aid Society shows up, it can already be a little bit scary. And before we started this, I said, you don't always get the pats on the back maybe. But there was recently an article in a local paper that talked about how some new things are changing within not just in your organization, but other organizations like yours as well. And kind of a big pat on the back, so to speak, as to why this is happening. Talk about what that is.
And I certainly, we appreciated the article, and it was in the Sarnia Journal, Kathy Dobson, who wrote it. Not looking for that, obviously, really, but certainly appreciated the article and her interest in the changes. And we decided about 5 years ago, so 2015, as a result of quite a number of things that were happening at the time, that we would stop raising kids and make sure that kids had families who would raise them, as opposed to, a children's aid society, not having them kind of grow up in care. And we really focused on, it was families that we wanted for kids, and moved away entirely from group care, and said we would just stop using group care. And that's been a provincial trend to reduce group home use and increase family use for quite a number of years. And some agencies have had some success with that. And probably the uniqueness of our approach was just to say, we're not going to do it anymore. It's no longer an option for kids in this community who are in our care, that we will use group care. And we made that decision not as some sort of, thing we plucked out of the sky. It was based on conversations we had with kids here in this community, 30 to 40 kids in this community, who shared with us what it was like growing up in care. And certainly there are good stories about kids who have grown up in care, absolutely. And there are lots of concerns and worries from kids systemically about what that's like growing up in care. So we decided, well, let's just not raise kids anymore. Let's make sure they have families who can raise them. And so the article really spoke to our success in being able to do that. So we've really switched it to kinship families raising kids if they can't stay with their birth parents or their families. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of uniqueness, I'm sure, to every situation that you're dealing with. So there's probably constant adapting that's happening there. I think it's really great that, you reached out to members of the community who went through that to get their feedback. Because I think maybe sometimes, and we do it even as parents, we don't ask our children what they want or what they would like or what their experience was. We just tell them this is how it's going to be, right? So how long has this been going? How long has this change occurred then?
Well, I would say over the last 8 to 9 years, we've been slowly making the change, but it was really 5 years ago where we said, we're not going to place in group care anymore, and we're going to increase kids staying with their families.
And how was that received? Was there any resistance from other organizations or like, this is, well, that's not how we do things? What was that like?
Yes, I guess it's the short answer. Some resistance. But I think when you have the conversation about the why, if you go to the why are we doing this, people generally understand and support that kids need to be with their families, with their communities, in their First Nations, and supported and raised that way. People usually go to, but there's always an exception. Right?
Yeah,
what about the exception? And our response to that is we can't build a system based on exceptions. We'll work through
always an exception to every rule. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we work through the exceptions and try to be, and to our staff's credit and the kin families and the foster families, as creative as we can be around what supports are needed, and then build those supports. And people are innovative and creative, and when that option is removed, it's incredible the things that people can come up with in order to better support kids and their families. And the community is just remarkable.
Yeah, well, the pandemic's a good example of that. It's kind of forced us all to be a little extra creative than maybe we normally would, right? Yeah. Moving along into, and that's fantastic. It's a great article that was written by the Sarnia Journal, and it's nice to see, changes have to come along as we try to grow, right, and adapt. Again, there's that word adapt to our surroundings that are happening at the time. Let's talk about money for a second. It's up there with oxygen. Everybody needs it, right? Mm-hmm. How is Children's Aid Society Sarnia-Lambton funded? And I know there's some fundraising going on there. Talk about that. So
we're funded entirely by the province for our core service delivery. And so we provide our protection services and our services to kids and families through that. But the extras for kids are not funded, through the province. And again, I have to credit the community has been incredible in their response for support for kids and families. So good example would be our youth holiday program that we run every year. And we have a former foster family who cooks along with their friends and extended family members a huge turkey dinner with all the fixings for young people. They've done it, I'm going to say 5-6 years now. And then we give them all, the young people, a bag of gifts. And so we, people sponsor the young people. Every year we've had a large gathering. This year will be different, of course. We'll have a drive-through or a drop-off. And so we've had all our youth sponsored and are still accepting donations if people would like to contribute to that meal or to the gift program. And then I'll also just quickly mention, we also have a number of restaurants who very quickly stepped up to offer a free meal for a kin family or a foster family as a way of saying thank you to helping take care of the community's kids. So lots of restaurants involved. I think it was a matter of days, and we had the entire year covered for restaurants providing a meal for a kin family or foster family. So Bearcat, Milano's, the Dante Club all quickly stepped up to provide meals. And then Cosmos is the other one that really stepped up and is doing a Pasta with a Purpose event on Monday for us.
Yeah, that's happening. That's happening today, right now. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and how late does that run?
I think you have to give about 2 hours notice for the family meal if you haven't pre-ordered. Yeah. All
right. Very good. Well, we'll share that on our Facebook so people can. I'm hungry now. You've been talking about all this food and all the fixings, and 'tis the season for all of that. And you got to congratulate the community. I know you have. And every time I have someone from a local organization on, we all say the same thing. This community really is outstanding when it comes to support. And I know I see Blue Water Power was there and doing some supporting, and other local businesses as well. So that's great, especially this time of year. I've just got about another minute here with you, Don. But this time of year is a little extra stressful, I think, for people normally. And is that, I'm guessing, been added to how busy are you busier this time of year?
Yeah, we do tend to see increased pressures, I think, on families sometimes around the holidays. And then the pandemic, of course, has added just another layer. And what we're seeing is, even if it's not necessarily the numbers going up, although they are increasing, it's the intensity of need is just, quite sad to see. Yeah.
I hear you. Well, that's why we've got you here, to let everybody know that you're available, and people can just go to the website or go to the Facebook page and reach out and ask their questions.
Absolutely. Yep. Reach out to us anytime.
Fantastic. Dawn, thank you so much. And thanks to you and your staff for what you do in our community. And I got to go eat now because, like I said, I'm hungry. I appreciate it.
Thanks, David.
Thanks. All right, Dawn, thanks again. Appreciate your time here today. Let's go into the music world now, where local musician Rodney James Medwid, now known as KingBrix, spoke to me earlier this week about his musical career and what's happening with that, and his new release, Satellite, that's coming out later this week, and also a special fundraiser happening at Refined Fool Midtown. Take a look at this interview, then I'll be back. All right, well, carrying on now, music is certainly a big part of Sarnia-Lambton. We've got a lot of talent here, and this next guest of mine is no exception to that rule. He is certainly very talented. Now known as KingBrix, Rodney James Medwid. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thanks for having me, man.
You're welcome. This is I've been looking forward to this interview for some time. Had you on here a little while back talking about some other things, but now we're talking about you and your music, and we're going to get to KingBrix in just a moment. But let's go back in time just a little bit and talk about Rodney James and the Riot, and now this transition. Explain that to everybody. What's going on there?
You know what? it was really cool with Rodney James and Riot. I had written a handful of songs in Calgary that I had taken to Sarnia with me, and it was really cool because as soon as I got into town, I had met Danny Ainsworth right away, and him and I decided to play these songs, and we did it in a really, really folk version with suitcase and kick drums. Brought his brother along, then it was Rodney James and the Ainsworth brothers.
Right.
Then at that point there, I had met the other guys in the band just slowly and progressively. So then we decided to take those songs that I had done with Rodney James and the Ainsworth brothers, and we decided to revamp them into more rock and roll style. So these songs have kind of taken about 3 different shapes so far ever since 5 years ago of me living in Calgary when I created them. So it was just really cool to have a moment with those songs done in a different light. And after that, KingBrix was something that kind of just fell on my lap. One of the songs that I intended to use just in my folk project back in the day with the Ainsworth brothers was a song called Under the Stars, which is my last release for KingBrix. And that had turned into an electronic song just by accident, just with me being on Pro Tools and just having a lot of fun with my synthesizer. So that kind of had a nice wake up call for me as to the style of music that I really wanted to play. And I just started the creativity within that project just started to really just overpower everything. And it was just one of those things where I just knew that emotionally for myself and therapeutically, this project was what I needed to just do full time. Just because of the stuff that, everyone's gone through stuff in life. And and this music, KingBrix project, has really just, it makes me feel satisfied in a way that I need it. So it's been amazing. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to have found that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great story. And tell us about the name KingBrix. Where does that come from?
So, it was one of those things where it was a project that visually, when I see it, it's something that's, that's got like a sharp cutting edge to it. And I do think that, just the way it sounds, KingBrix, it sounds that way. It sounds sharp. It sounds serious. It sounds like it's got emotion. And the most important part is that it's both of my son's names. So it was something that, once again, I'm just 100% trying to do something sentimental with this project, all the way down to the name of it being something that I know I won't get sick of that name because, that's my boys.
Yeah. And how do the boys feel about it?
You know what? It's cool because Brixton's 2 now, so he is starting to understand things, and it's so cute how much he's memorizing lyrically with just the silly shows he watches on TV. But it's really neat to watch Kingsley, my 8-year-old, and how he's absorbing everything. He feels flattered for sure. It's kind of a cute little thing where, no matter what, Dad's never 100% cool, right? So, but you can tell he's flattered by it, and he's really enjoying. More importantly, he's enjoying watching me do this and how open I am to the experimental side of music with this project. And he's learning a lot from that and learning to open his mind and see no boundaries. It was kind of nice. We did the photo shoot. We finished the photo shoot for Satellite this morning, actually. With my buddy Maddie over at Paradox Images, and Kingsley got to sit in this dark corner, and the dark corner of the room, because it's more of a serious dark video about the intensities and sometimes the untruthful side of social media.
Oh, right.
So, but Kingsley was in the dark corner watching his daddy, do his thing with this music video, and I think it really pumps him up. It's really refreshing to watch that.
If you were to describe, I don't, is there such thing as a genre anymore in music? There's so many different things, but could you label it?
So with this, I would call it, anywhere between a industrial folk kind of hybrid It has all of those kind of roots to it, but it's so hard because, you know, I'm using hip hop beats. I've got folk parts in there. I've got metal parts in there, hard rock parts, some stuff that would be classified almost jazzy. But I just, because the actual keyboard is really overpowering the writing process, it just kind of swings in so many directions. It's enjoyably uncontrollable.
Okay, there's. I think you just created a new genre.
Yeah. Uncontrollable genre.
Right, there you go. I'm looking forward to hearing this. I haven't heard any of this at all, but I've heard you describe it sort of a few times. So I'm excited to listen to this. And then, of course, it's coming out. It's coming out Wednesday. Is that what?
Is to be determined, but it will be this week, and it will be most likely in the mid part of the week. I just got the actual finalizing from distribution emailed to me, so I'll keep you posted with the exact date of that, but it will definitely be this week, and we've got the video and the release lined up to release at the same time. I think that that's just the best way to do it, you know, just let it all come out at once. People can watch the video and then go over to Spotify or Apple Music or whatever afterwards and listen to it. And it's been really cool. I think in the last weekend I've gained about 500 followers, and it just kind of keeps crawling up. And it's just a neat project where I'm seeing a lot of positive response.
Well, you're getting lots of attention too. I mean, you've been on CBC Radio. I think CTV has talked to you. That's when those things start to happen, you really get, you know, you're excited in the beginning, but it sort of becomes more real, I guess, right? You know, and how has that affected you and the family in general? You know, that wow, this is becoming a real thing.
I think it's cool because it's kind of teaching us slowly how to use the gifts that we've been given. And putting it out into the world, especially when it comes to, you know, supporting Sarnia and surrounding businesses and music. Those are the two things that, besides my family, comes way up here for pride, but those are the two things that underneath that are the things that I'm so proud of. And you have to use those things to do better things in the world. So I'm just trying to target those things and use what I know and try to help out and do my part, to make people okay and, feel better and a little more secure, in whichever way.
Yeah. And how long have you been in Sarnia?
It's been since 2016. It was April 2016. I took my 15-foot trailer across Canada through a couple snowstorms, made my way here, and I never looked back.
You've really connected well and very quickly in the community. And you and I've talked, privately about just this community and the greatness that's in this community. And you've obviously feel like you've made the right choice to be here in Sarnia.
You know what? I would come here for weddings, just like one or two weddings, family-wise, on Kendra's side of the family. And that's when I started to realize how much fun it was to conversate with people in this area. A lot of people really want to listen and talk and have like a good chat. And I really appreciated that part of this, living, in a big city and stuff like that before. That sometimes that gets missed out, and it was really quite out front for me that was a big difference, and I wanted that in my life. And I talked to Maddie today over at Paradox Images when he was doing the video, and the thing that I told him was, because he asked me how long I had been here, and I said that, and he's like, "That's crazy, 4 years." And when he said it to me, I said, "You know what, honestly, it's really nice to be a set of fresh eyes to a town. And, just have such a fresh outlook on a town, not growing up here and then just seeing it for what it is and the beauty right off the hop and having it kind of all hit me at once, especially the friendships, because I've made so many friends. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. But with all of those things combined, it made me want to do whatever I could for this town, because honestly, this town's just made my life better than I could have ever imagined.
That's awesome. Well, you've shown that with supporting. Well, what's it called now? You changed the name recently, right?
Yeah, so supporting Sarnia and surrounding businesses,
Right.
because it was one of those things where I would have put surrounding area businesses, but it was just too long of a title. So I thought everyone got the point. It's nice, and I just wanted to, it's been building. And I wanted to give the proper shout out to the surrounding area because they're just so important too. And I mean, it's Sarnia-Lambton. It's our whole economical circle that is so important that we keep it strong. And the communications side of it and what Facebook gives you when it comes to communication, our group kills it every time because it's just so fast when it comes to people talking back and forth.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really working out. Didn't think it would work out even this much, so that's fantastic.
Right. Yeah, it's congratulations again on that as well. It's gotten lots of attention and lots of support. Well, let's talk a little bit more about community. Another way you're giving back this week, I guess, coming up to the Refined Fool Midtown special fundraiser for Krista Clark and her family. We had Dr. Taylor on here a few weeks ago talking about that, but give everybody an update of what's happening here.
So for me, I'm just doing my little part to help out in the situation. They've had an amazing fundraiser take place in a GoFundMe. I don't know the exact numbers, but they are incredibly high, and it's very impressive to see our community come together like that. But I'm doing my little part. I made a box with a lock on it and stuff. It's been over at Refined Fool for probably about a month now, it feels. And so people have been throwing donations in there. I will, hand it to them with the key. They can open it up and just, take, that as another part of the community helping them out. And then donating the pay for the show to them as well. And, basically, dedicating the show, especially to, Chris's daughter, who had passed last year. So it's just a little thing that I can do to help out. It's, it's just what you need to do.
Yeah. Well, and couldn't agree with you more. Well said. And this is unique times, of course, right now. So there's limited seating for this. What are the numbers at already for this? Do you know? Or
so it seems to be sold out on the reservation side of things. I'm really kind of glad that it's minimal seating too, just so that it's just we're streaming it live too, and it's nice and it can be intimate because the whole show and the whole situation at hand is a very, very emotional situation. So it's going to be a 30-person reservation. And then they have like a 20-person float, I believe, for traffic, but they're keeping it really widespread and keeping everything safe table wise. So it's the way it's got to be right now. And I actually kind of, I think that it's better for this show, especially.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a great night. And I'll be there live streaming it for those who can't be there. And I think we're going to have a link during the broadcast as well, right? So that if people watching want to donate, is that right?
Please. You know what? It's so funny that you said that. I was going to messenger you that last night asking if you could do that. So instead of making some shoddy sign beside me, we could do it this way. I like that. Thanks, Dave. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So it's certainly an emotional story, Krista Clark and her family, right? And so once again, it's nice to see the community coming together to give this support. We're just about out of time here, but talking about the show a little bit more, can you give us there's kind of two parts to this show, right? Give us an idea of what people can expect.
There is. So I have I've been writing some folk songs for TV and cinema and an agency in Toronto right now. So I have all these songs that I really need to perform, and it's kind of almost like a Mumford Sons / Bruce Springsteen 80s kind of synthy background to it. So it's really neat. It's something different that I've never done. I've always dreamt of kind of doing that kind of sound. So I'm doing that for the first set, and that's called the Rocky Rivers Project, and that's a dedication to my love for my home in the mountains. And then of course KingBrix will be the last set, which is a 45-minute set as well of a rock and roll electronic folky hybrid of I already forgot
can't
what
wait.
that genre was.
That's awesome. Well, it's going to be a great show, and like you say, it'll be a nice, intimate show, and we'll be able to share it with the rest of the world who can watch from the comfort of their home and still give their support to Krista Clark and
Yes.
her family.
And
Rodney James,
thank
yeah.
you for doing that, by the way. Thank you. I was just going to say before I let you go, thank you for doing that.
No problem. My pleasure. Happy to collaborate with you on that. Well, Rodney James Medwid, thank you so much for joining me here. As I like to give all my guests one final opportunity, is there anything you want to add?
I just be safe during the Christmas, guys. I mean, that's all I can really say. Try to enjoy it to the best that you can, and let's see where the final moments of this fundraiser go for Krista.
Right on, Rodney. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye, David.
All right, Rodney James Medwid, KingBrix. Thanks so much for your time here again, buddy. And looking forward to the performance of KingBrix this Saturday, December the 12th at Refined Fool Midtown. Starts at 8:30 p.m. And if you're not able to get a reservation or make it in there, as we said, we will be broadcasting it live right from the performance at Refined Fool Midtown. And there will be a donation link so that you can contribute to supporting Krista Clark and her family. Thanks again, Rodney. All right, everybody. Well, just before we go, I always want to say thank you to our supporters. We've got Huron Signs, SWO, and AG Event Graphics. Thank you for their support. Active Ears Hearing Center, better hearing begins with you. Hughes Intelligence Canada, security specialists. Joe's Discount Tire. Get those snow tires on before it gets crazy out there. And, of course, our friends at Oswald's Diner for their ongoing support. And my friend Jake Chersky down at Philly Cheese Jake's. That's all the time I got for you this week, everybody. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now.